I was studying the nuts and bolts of the brain and the spinal cord. Now I study behavior. I'm a neuroscientist. I'm Nicole Gravagna. I'm the founder of NeuroEQ. We are a behavior prediction company. I don't know, I feel like I won the lottery of PhDs because when I went into neuroscience, it was not cool, and now it's super cool. So the leadership trifecta that I work from is that really what matters is that you understand what's important at any given moment, and what's important changes from minute to minute. So that's salience, motivation, so that you are actually motivated to handle the fires that are coming up or what needs to happen next to actually do what you need to do, and the confidence to know that you can do everything you need to do to move forward. Those three parts. That comes out of understanding the way that the brain works and understanding human behavior. So there's actually a part, it's not one part of the brain, it's multiple parts of the brain together that are called the salience network. So this is a part of the brain, or parts of the brain, that allow you to understand what's important, to shift your attention at any given time. But it's also used for a lot of other things. So the salience part of the brain, the salience network, also understands whether or not you're having to make decisions in uncertain situations. If you don't have enough information to make a decision, the salience part of the brain will have a little firestorm. If you're in conflict, the salience part of the brain will have a little firestorm. It's like a lot of different things happening in the same room. And because they're happening in the same room, they affect each other. It's very hard to shift your attention purposefully if you're in conflict, if you're dealing with a lot of uncertainty, or if you're in emotional or physical pain. To be able to control your attention, we have to think about uncertainty. And so what we've discovered, when you are in a situation where you know a lot, you're actually quite comfortable. You are able to sit, be comfortable, have no discomfort, and that isn't terribly motivating. On the other side, if you're in a situation where you know very little, you're paralyzed. You're unable to move forward. It's painful to try to make a decision. And you get this firestorm in your mind when you try to make a decision without having enough information. And so motivation actually lives in a space between a lot of uncertainty and a lot of certainty. When in offices, people try to create comfortable, safe, secure environments for their employees, they're actually demotivating by making it a little too comfortable. Or if they try to shake something up in a situation where, here, go in, make it happen, and the person has no context for what's supposed to happen next, that's also very demotivating. So there's this fine balance for motivation in terms of creating an environment where there's enough certainty and enough uncertainty for people to move forward. One of the things that I see consistently, I'm not going to say wrong, but misunderstood, is confidence, and where confidence comes from and how we get that. We have a dissonance detector. Dissonance meaning anything that doesn't add up, doesn't match up. When we see this, they don't add up. There's a detector in your brain that fires. You get a little firestorm. And so if you're having a dissonance firestorm, you can't move your attention. You're trapped. It's sort of like driving down the highway and you see the accident on the side of the road. You can't help but look at it. You're like, no, look in front of you. You're gonna hit the car in front of you. You're like, ah. The conflict draws our attention. That's how the human body works. How does this get back to confidence? You are adding more dissonance to your own life than anybody else's. All those little things that you do where you say, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym later, and then you don't, that's a little cloudiness that you add to your life. We'll call it integrity. Integrity means that what you said you were gonna do and what you did do actually meet up. That word integrity doesn't mean morality, it just means you did and said the same thing. And when you do and say the same thing, your mind is clear. And so when a leader is able to have that integrity and do what they say they're gonna do and have their own confidence, not fake confidence, not arrogance, but true confidence, then they can start to create that confidence in their team members. This confidence comes from being able to trust myself. I don't have to trust anybody else, I don't have to trust the environment, I don't have to trust the situation, I just have to trust me. The point that I really want to drive home is that although we may talk about all these topics differently, we may talk about conflict in a whole separate book than we talk about uncertainty, and we talk about emotional pain and authenticity in all these separate forums, and they may be entirely separate lectures of leadership development programs, your body sees these things as all the same. So your brain is having the same response in the same place for all of these different things. So when we dissect them and talk about them in separate sets of lectures and talk about how we respond to them or what action is the right action to do in terms of leadership, we're artificially creating a situation that your body doesn't understand. It's all the same thing to your body. It's all the same thing to your brain. And so tone at the top, if the leader walks into the room confident, motivated, and able to figure out what's important, they can transmit that to everybody else.